Hey, entrepreneurs, it's Steve Garvin, and I am here to share a little bit of New Year joy. I hope your 2020 is off to a great start. For me, I have chosen for the year to focus on the word elevate. And what do I mean by elevate? I mean raising up what I've been doing and bringing it to a new level. I also think at this time of year with all the snow and everything going on, although there's not a whole lot of snow going on here in the Seattle area, but there are people around the country who are having a fair amount of snow. I think about a hike that I went on when I was a young scout. My scout troop had prepared for this hike. It was going to be a 50-mile hike, and it was going to be in the mountains around Three Sisters in Central Oregon. I was living in Springfield, Oregon, which is about 2 hours south of Portland, and the Three Sisters area was off to the east, maybe an hour or two. And we'd been preparing all year long, going on different hikes. And then in August of that year, we began the hike of going on through the Three Sisters Wilderness. And what happened was, as only after a short period of time, we hit snow. It was August. We were dressed, prepared for summer. We were not prepared to hit snow on the trail. And it wasn't just hitting a little bit of snow, a little patch of snow on the trail and get through it like we originally hoped that would be the case. We actually, because there was so much snow, we lost the trail. We couldn't see where we were going. And we had planned the trip, and we were actually going to hike into a lake, rest for a day or two, go fishing and so forth. And the snow changed all of that. It took us 2 or 3 days to find our way through all that snow. Along the way, we struggled. We had a difficult time figuring out where the trail was. Hey, Carly, it's great to have you join me. I wonder if you've ever been over to the Three Sisters area. Talking about how going on a hike through the mountains of Oregon, through Three Sisters, and hitting snow, and how feeling like we were lost. How could we go on? Instead of setting up camp and going fishing that day and just taking it easy in the mountains of Oregon in summer, we were actually freezing because we were unprepared. I remember setting my hiking boots on the rock enclosure we had around the campfire, and I don't know what you call it, the backing of my boot was this insulated foam. And because of the fire and because the boots had gotten so wet during hiking through all that snow, the foam melted. So that made things uncomfortable. Another one of the scouts that I was with was very fair skinned, and he started to get second-degree burns on his hands from the reflection of the sun on the snow. We were unprepared for what we encountered. And what does that have to do with profits? If you look up the word profit, like I did, and look at the etymology of it, where it comes from, comes from the word, the Latin word facere. I'm trying to pronounce that correctly, which means to make or to do. And so profit is the benefits you get from the work that you do. So if you're going to have a profitable business, that means the activities that you're doing in the business are producing a positive net benefit. And coming from the accounting world as I do, I can see that profits and loss statement, which you're probably familiar with. And at the top of that profit and loss statement is sales, and then the cost of sales, and then you get gross profit, which is the amount of benefit that you get from selling those products. But then there are a whole bunch of expenses that go underneath that to where you finally reach net profit. So at the end of your activities for the period, for the month, for the year, whatever, you end up with the benefits that you get. So going back to my hiking trip, that first day did not seem very profitable. That first and second day, as we were trying to find our way through the snow, try to find our way, how are we going to go from where we started out to where we're going to end up 50 miles away. The path ahead was not clear. But we persevered. We helped each other out. I remember taking a younger scout's pack, taking about half of it out and putting it in my pack. Interestingly enough, this younger scout, who was very small at the time, grew up and hit a growth spurt and became a very big guy. But it was a period of time. Anyways, that's an aside. But my point is that when we're trying to profit in our business, we need to not only have what we need with us in our backpack, if you will, in our experience, we also need to be able to see the trail ahead of us. And that's where story comes in. Story helps us to see the path for us to follow in order to get profitably to where we want to go. On that second or third day of our 5-day hike, 50-mile hike, we met another through hiker who was hiking along the Pacific Crest Trail from beginning, which is at the California-Mexico border, to the end, which is at the Washington-Canada border. It's about 2,650 miles long. And he was already up to Three Sisters, Oregon. And he was moving along. I was just looking up some information about how long it takes to hike the Pacific Crest Trail from beginning to end. And it said those few elite hikers who are able to do it in less than 100 days hike about 30 miles a day. And that's what this hiker was doing. He was cruising along. And he also, one of the things I remember from my young scout perspective was the size of his legs. He was just this really massive hiker and looked like he could just plow through. And I imagined once he hit the snow, he just kept going. And because we met him, because we heard his story about and from where he had come and how far he had made it, he was able to give us perspective on the trail ahead. He was able to give us some information that would help us profit from his experience. And what we do as entrepreneurs is help the people around us also profit by telling the stories that we have experienced, the journeys that we have been on through whatever it may be. We have gained insight, experience, wisdom, expertise that we can use to help other people develop their skills, their abilities, so that they too can profit. That this profiting, while sometimes seen as kind of not very charitable, profiting can actually be very charitable if we have in mind not only making sure that our bottom line on our profit and loss statement, but also the work that we do in order to yield to net that profit is beneficial not only to ourselves, but also to the people that we're serving. So my invitation to you this year is to focus on areas where you can profit most. and learn from the people around you. Learn from those through hikers with the massive legs who have been able to traverse from one place to another, who have been able to journey in ways that we have not yet been able to journey. And by learning from these people in developing our own skills, our own abilities, our own mastery, we too will be able to profit. And we'll be able to tell stories that help others profit too. So go ahead, share your stories. Tell us what snow patches you hit in your life. What trails have you been able to traverse from beginning to end? And what were the lessons that you learned along the way that will help us to be able to profit in our own efforts? Until our stories meet again, be the bright light in someone's dark night. And have a very happy new year. Take care. Bye-bye.